Hi guys. So just a quick warning, I'm not the CTO of our company. So the explanation, because he couldn't be here today, he's in San Francisco, I'm going to give you the non-technical explanation, which is going to be a lot shorter than what they did. So it'll be like, just expect it to be brief, fun, entertaining, and informative without anything technical. No, I'll explain the technical stuff. So yeah, so we announced this product about a month ago in Cannes. We call it Single Ledger. So I explained kind of in bits and pieces in the panel that we were doing a media token. That's not a real product today, so we decided to show the real product first, and then go into the media token just to give you guys a taste of what that's going to look like. But our main goal was, what is like a big sort of easy to solve problem that we could kind of build within a couple months and sort of bring in an advertiser to validate. So we launched this with ABI. What Single Ledger is essentially it's a single ledger that everyone can write their data to, and then all the reconciliation of discrepancies from the SSP and the DSP, at least for now, that's what we have going on, is just the SSP, the DSP, and us, can be done on chain. And we're actually the advertiser has their own public-private key pair. We're encrypting it. Sorry, they're encrypting it, we're encrypting and then writing it to the chain. So this was the ad campaign, kind of just to show you what it looked like. Pretty cool. Just to get to the technical part, because I'm not allowed to show everything, I'm going to click on this link and show you all the data. So we're writing with IPFS. This doesn't really mean much. It's a very simple contract, of the write contract. Is writing the IPFS file to the, if it loads, to the, where is it? To the chain. No, this is it. It's pretty simple. It's just writing the IPFS file to the chain. So for those of you not unfamiliar with IPFS, it's interplanetary file system. It's a file, sort of a storage protocol by Filecoin that's allowing you to essentially write data locally as if it was to be on a chain. And then because of the latency issues you see with Ethereum, we decided to just batch write once per hour. Pretty straightforward stuff. So right now there's literally hourly, you can see there's hourly writes, and this is all the impression level data on an hourly basis being written to the chain. We've consolidated the same impression ID as well across all partners, and that way everyone knows which impression is what. Now, is ABI actually looking at the raw data? Great question. The answer is yes, believe it or not. Actually, no, they have a data science team. I don't know if you guys knew this. We have a dApp that we've created. I'll just type it in right now. That allows you to download the data. It's very basic. You can download it too, but it doesn't mean anything because it's encrypted. Ha ha ha. Yeah, so it's really that simple. Right now, I can just go back to, and this is why I get excited about the immutability part, and that's it. It just downloads it. So this is the type of thing we had to do because they just didn't know how to go in and download the data through finding a contract ID and Ether wallet. Like, they weren't going to be able to do that, so we just created a dApp for them to download the data from. Again, I can be devil's advocate and say, Brian, you could have written the wrong data, and Brian, why are you using this just to store data? And like, to be honest, the #1 use case here was to show that we could solve a very sort of real problem relatively quickly, get a brand on board, and then show that radical transparency is our priority, and then promote good actor behavior. Because if you're a bad actor, you wouldn't want to write to this ledger because you have something to hide. If you're a good actor, you have nothing to hide, and so you'll write to the same ledger. So that's kind of the non-technical explanation. Hopefully that makes sense. Now I get to go into coin. Yeah. I love cool stuff like this. So we are essentially, so Kiip, many of you know of us as sort of rewards based. We've obviously got a percentage of our business is that. We decided that it would make a lot of sense to have an advertiser, for example, use coin. So we're calling the token coin, K-O-I-N, to buy ads. Obviously, there's single ledgers included in that technology with a smart contract of all the ad campaign parameters in the token itself, and then we'll rev share to the publisher using the token, and then the end user will receive some of the token. Now the question is, Brian, what will the end user be able to use the token for? Well, there's currently 2 use cases we're advocating for. The first is for buying digital goods and services within the app that they saw the ad in. Makes sense. So let's say you see an ad from Bud Light, you get a representation of value. We may not even call it coin for the end user. It may actually just look like you just got 1 month free of premium on Spotify, or 1 month free of Pandora, or a 1 month subscription to somewhere, or 100 coins in the game, or whatever's of value in the app that you're in, right? Really, it makes a lot of sense. And then you can obviously choose to spend that back in the app. In the app, the publisher makes more money. This is the explicit current sort of sample UX that we're looking at. So the idea is you can claim the tokens, and then you can exchange it for actual currency within the app itself, and you would have a balance that follows you around based on your device ID as the wallet. We don't intend to launch a coin wallet at the moment, but we do believe that, because we have SDK integrations. Out of the 11,000 apps we have with our SDK in it, 2,300 currently have currencies in it. We actually believe that there's a trend of more publishers introducing their own currencies. In fact, the ones that are succeeding have a version of a currency already. Like, even dating apps now have currencies, right? Like Meet Me has diamonds. And then you have like fitness apps like Sweatcoin has a Sweatcoin. And then you have, obviously, publishers that have currency in the form of a free month or a year subscription to their premium content. So a lot of the monetization strategies of apps are starting to look very similar. It's advertising and then in-app purchases. So the more we can marry those two together with the same token, a lot of really cool stuff could happen. So this is, again, very much so work in progress, but we're really excited to kind of see how this plays out in an initially centralized environment, right? This is, yes, all within Kiip's network, but we have the opportunity to launch that using our own technology and our own publishers. But obviously, over time, we'd love for the token to be decentralized, and actually every ad buy using coin actually has a reward attached to it, right? I sounded like a crazy man when we first started the company, right? Like you could get rewarded for from advertising, but like I think lately, and you guys can nod your head if you agree or disagree, in the last 18 months, people are starting to be like, yeah, people should get rewarded for their time. Like this is kind of how things should work. And Cambridge Analytica kind of showed how we were getting our our value. There's a lot of take. There's no like give. I think this is the opportunity to give and then actually make more money. So that's it. Thank you. I can't questions and answers or no? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Keep in mind, I'm just gonna say talk to my CTO. I'm messing with you, but I can try to field a few. Any questions? No questions? No? Cool. Oh, there you go.
Just from I think you mentioned ABI.
Yeah.
What was any incentive for them to participate, or were they just kind of curious to learn more, participate in more pilots, wanted more transparency? What was driving the brand?
Yeah, so they recently took programmatic in-house. Their whole messaging is around like more importantly, it's like we want to be in more relevant places for the consumer and go for more sort of permission versus just sort of interruptive advertising. So or gauging advertising. So that was the first reason why they worked with us. Exactly. And then the blockchain product was because they're looking for radical transparency. By them having their own in-house programmatic, they kind of managed that whole supply chain. At least they knew how much they were paying, and they weren't, it wasn't the non-disclosed stuff. That was the first. And then at least for us, because we're literally giving them impression level data. And the one thing about immutability is we can't go back. Like most of the time, they'll rely on going through the DSP's dashboard or their DFP dashboard, or sorry, their DBM dashboard to see how is traffic. But in our case, once it's written, it's minted. There's no way that I can change what I delivered, 3 weeks ago. So that is done. And so that was exciting to them. We could even go out of business, and because they have their own pair of keys, they can go and download the data whenever they want. So a lot of really cool stuff there, and that was really appealing. And the cost savings was more so that because they weren't relying on another third party for complete transparency of impression level delivery, they were able to save on that as well. So it's a combination of a few factors, and it was very appealing. And they were able to sort of be a part of this initial revolution. So we're actually, just to be very clear, Single Ledger isn't an exclusive Kiip product. We plan to outsource the reconciliation smart contract and code in the next month or so. So it's coming very soon. And we would love people to create their own private version of it, like what IBM's doing with Unilever. We could feasibly do this with this open source code, which is really cool. And this is where we plan to take things. No worries. No other questions? Great, thank you.